What we're learning here is a transpersonal perspective on counseling, which means that we're concerned not with just getting the job done of solving a person's problem, but we're also having a broader perspective as to the purpose of why a person would have a problem in the first place, and how through our interacting with them that purpose might be realized. In other words, from a spiritual perspective, we understand that everything has a purpose, and that we're all drawing closer toward God realization, and that we're here to help each other do this. Now, the way I look at counseling is it's a special circumstance of two people interacting for hopefully the chance to have some God realization come between them. Now, what we talked about is, say, if this is the two people that we understand from earlier lectures that the creation is basically whole of one piece, and in stories of creation there became the divide, the yin and the yang, the plus and the minus, and so on. This is in all of the creation myths. And that the yes and no, the dark and light. And one of the things that happens that a person becomes an individual by saying no, like in the terrible twos. And also a person comes to separate from themselves because their parents are going to automatically find aspects of themselves that they don't like, and they're going to punish certain aspects of the kid. So there's going to be an okay you and a not okay you, a conscious you and an unconscious you. Part of what the creation of consciousness is certain things come into your awareness and other things go out of your awareness. As a result, there's a natural split. Now, this is common in all creation mythologies. Now, where this comes up in psychology, we have Freud in saying that the seed of neurosis is repressing certain feelings and emotions, then they come up and get you. Carl Rogers talking about parts of ourselves that we don't accept. We have conditional self-worth. It's based on certain conditions. Okay, now if God realization or health requires us being whole, us being the unique total person that we are, then that means that these parts that have been rejected, these parts that have been repressed, have to come back up into consciousness, and we have to find a way to bring them back into our family of who we are. We have to re-embrace them. Now, how does this come about if we don't even know they exist? How are we going to do that, especially since we kicked them out? Well, what happens is, as they say, shit happens. We start having problems. We trip over things. We get into all kinds of situations. This is because those unconscious parts of ourselves are drawing our attention to them via these problems in life. So someone comes to see you, they are talking about some problem. They feel depressed, they don't get along with their wife, they wish they could get a better job, but they're afraid to leave. Whatever is the situation that's causing them unhappiness. And we could say, let's go fix this, and we go and fix it by giving them a skill or what have you to get out of that situation. We take away their problem. We've now taken away the message, the letter, the channel through which some unowned part of themselves was trying to come back and be re-owned. So from a transpersonal point of view, what we're hoping to do is that we can, by being with the person, they can come to see the reason why this problem is coming, the purpose, and reclaim some part of themselves and move a step towards wholeness. Okay, so that's all review. Now, so this is, say, the person, and we'll say this is the counselor because they're wearing the counselor's hat and they've got their little Indian feather on so that they won't mistake who they are. So this person is at many levels. Out of their mouth, they're saying things. Their vibes are giving off energy along different, dimensions. And they are, in effect, affecting you. You're open to them. You are receptive. You're listening. You're paying attention. They're going to affect you. Now, we talked about what are the the criteria, the conditions, the schooling for a healer? Well, the healer supposedly has medicine. Where does this medicine come from? It comes from the fact that you've had problems, you've faced things, you've gone through changes, you've had your crises, you've learned the secrets or some secrets of transformation. So you know what it's like to, say, for example, feel angry and fight within yourself about, shall I express it? Shall I repress it? Until you realize you want it to impress you and understand what your anger is trying to tell you. Relax, stand up for yourself, own whatever it is that's the violation that you need to stand up and say, hey, I claim this or whatever. So that you have different ways of, whereas when they get into a certain situation, a thing comes along, the energy gets stuck in them. The situation's stuck. They don't know exactly what to do with it because their tools for handling it, for rolling it over, a lot of that is repressed. It's not available to them. From you, a situation comes in, it hits your knowledge base of transformation, you turn that situation around, you draw upon self-esteem, you draw upon self-acceptance, etc. You can turn a situation around and walk on through it. So that means then that when they're talking to you, what have you, their energy is coming at you. You are in effect very naturally taking that energy, transforming it, and giving it back to them in a new way. Or they are generating some bad energy, another way of looking at it, some disjointed, disharmonious energy. You sit with that energy as it works in you, and you harmonize it. They watch you, they pick up and they start resonating with you, resonating with them, and they start learning how to harmonize that energy. Now, say in a simple situation of listening, what goes on? This person says something like, I'm really angry at my wife, but I couldn't tell her that. That wouldn't be right. So you can feel their inhibitions. They're not allowing themselves to consider the possibility of disclosing their feelings. You reflect back. That wouldn't be right? Now, just by your saying that, you're just reflecting that back. You're giving them a chance to say, yeah, of course, that wouldn't be right, because if you say you're angry, that's hurtful, and so on. And say, oh, is it you'd be hurting her if you told her that you were angry with her. By reflecting this, you're staying calm. This person's really upset over this prospect of that they're angry. It's dangerous now that they're angry. It's potential calamity that they're going to tell their wife. And however, you're not acting like, you're saying, oh, you're angry. Oh, you might tell your wife. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Oh, well, maybe you should write her a letter or something. You know, like you're as upset and worried about it as they are. You know, so your suggestion to them is trying to then counter this fear that you and they both have, you know, to deal with this dangerous situation. But on the other hand, you're saying, oh, so you're angry at your wife? You're afraid to tell her, huh? You're afraid it would hurt her, huh? Now, what are you doing by that calm acceptance and reflecting? You're telling this person, not in so many words, but your energy is saying, what's so frightening to them is not frightening to you. What seems like such a bad thing, you seem to be rather acceptant of it. This starts affecting their energy, and through this process of exchange, through reflective listening, they can calm down and now examine something and be mindful of something that they would have when they first came in totally just evade, just not even consider it. You didn't have to tell them, you didn't have to give them any directions. You're not giving them any advice on how to deal with the situation, but your whole being is saying, hey, we can relax. This is not dangerous. This is not disgusting. You're not a horrible person. I'm not barfing in your presence. I'm not calling 911. I'm not freaked out. And that allows them to examine.